Alright, now for another episode of Hero Villain Mashup, and this time around it is going to be Robocop against the Kingpin. So what would it be like if Wilson Fisk had come to Detroit to essentially take over as the new Kingpin of crime? Because let's be honest, the Detroit of the Robocop universe would be the perfect breeding ground and new business opportunities for Wilson Fisk. Like, I could see him coming to Detroit and being like, yeah, why shouldn't I just be the Kingpin of New York? I can be the Kingpin of New York and Detroit. So, the way I see it is that Kingpin would definitely see, like, an open market for him to get free reign in. He would certainly love to just move in and take shit for himself. He would be more than happy than to come on in and just take what he wanted from Detroit. Because there's a total power vacuum. There's no, like, gangsters anymore, crime families anymore, or organized crime now that, Robocop showed up. It's just now just little gangs and random acts of violence, really. So the way I see it is that Fisk would come in and do things secretly. Like, he would kind of work from the shadows, essentially. He would work from the shadows to basically just kind of, like, make little stepping stones. He wouldn't just bullhorn his way in there. This is Wilson Fisk. He would just finesse his way into getting into Detroit. Like, he would just start supplying weapons and money and drugs to certain gangs, and if anyone was open to it, they'd be like, yeah! And if they weren't, oh, that's the wrong answer there, buddy. That is the wrong answer. So, I think when eventually he would run afoul with, his operations would run afoul with Robocop, he'd be like, yeah, this was running into Robocop was a eventuality, one that I planned for. So I think what Robocop would do, I think what Fisk would do is while he's, getting his own crime group together for Detroit to take over Detroit. I think on the other side, Wilson Fisk would be publicly, being business friends with OCP. So I think that'd be of course Fisk would definitely, like, first thing he would do is shield himself from Robocop publicly by working with OCP on their their projects for Detroit. So that's, like, the first thing he would do. Not only that, he would also, like, maybe get on the inside once he's on, with OCP. He would basically go about, trying to take what information he can about Robocop. He would be, like, taking little notes here and there, and when he discovered Robocop is Alex Murphy, then shit would be really crazy. Because I think he would realize not only, the fourth law that keeps people from, the people of OCP safe would probably apply to me, because they'd probably tell Robocop, Wilson Fisk is not to be harmed. He would have to obey that law. They kind of, like, sometimes here's the problem with that, with this fourth law for Robocop, is that sometimes they have him obey it and sometimes they don't, so it's kind of tricky ground right there. But basically, once Kingpin got information, he wouldn't even, like, I could even see him not even wanting to be friends with, with OCP, but I think it would be on a public scale he would do that. But I think what he would also do is, like, he would strong-arm some scientists who help build Robocop. He would strong-arm them or bribe them or what have you, and what he would do is then get the information on Robocop and all the schematics, all the rules, and, all the little tidbits about Robocop. And once he figured out it's Alex Murphy, he would probably track down Murphy's wife and son, track them down somewhere, and be like, hey, I know your name is Alex Murphy, and I know where your son, your wife and son are. So play ball, and I won't have to kill you. I won't have to kill them. You don't really care what happens to you. There's a part of you that wants to die, right? So here's what's going to happen. You can still, patrol the streets, but you stay out of my business, and I won't videotape, I won't live stream me putting a bullet through your wife and son's head or having someone else do it. Also, I think if they got into a fight, Fisk would easily hold his own against Robocop. Remember, there's been points where even Fisk has stood up to Dr. Doom. There's one comic out there where Fisk takes the full blast from Doom's armor and proceeds to chuck Doom off a roof. So, keep that in mind. So, yeah, Fisk has no problem if Murphy burst into his office and pulled a gun on him. Fisk has no problem of getting out of his chair and going hand to hand with Robocop. So, that's another big thing you have to look at right here. All in all, Kingpin would be a totally devastating opponent for Robocop to face. He would just be this monster that he couldn't, that Murphy just could not touch. He would be unable to essentially lift a finger to hurt him, and even if he could, Kingpin could easily think of some way to hurt Murphy, either physically or emotionally. And let's not forget that Kingpin would probably come to Detroit with some backup of the metahuman variety, or at least the assassin variety. I could see him with bringing Bullseye or the Hobgoblin or a bunch of other costume villains at his side. Like, I could definitely see him bringing some of his contacts in New York. Like, I could even see him bringing Tombstone or some other villain, some other kind of villain with him to New York. And RoboCop's never really... The worst he's dealt with was Kane and the Ed 209s. So really, this would be a whole other beast for Murphy to deal with. So this is a tough, villain that Murphy would have to overcome. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if RoboCop had to deal with Kingpin? What if, Kingpin was an enemy to RoboCop? How do you think he would handle it? How do you think Kingpin would get under RoboCop's skin, or should I say armor? What kind of villains do you think he would incorporate to try to take down RoboCop? And how do you think RoboCop would try to overcome Fisk? Just comment below, let me know. Hope you all enjoyed this. This was a pretty fun one to talk about, so I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. But once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.